Good evening, everybody. Welcome inside the NFL Goal Line Studios. We have a more serious note on tap for Week 3 of NFL Goal Line as the founder of NFL Films, Steve Sabol, at 69 years old, lost his 18-month-old battle with brain cancer. And now Sabol, the founder of NFL Films, which has been out since 1962, has passed away at the age of 69. And again, the founder of NFL Films, he was the premier guy in NFL football, and it's obviously very sad, Phil, to see him go this early in his life. 69 years old. Steve Sabol was he'll be an impact in the NFL and surely missed.
There's so many things you can say about a guy like Steve Sabol. The biggest thing you could say is he revolutionized the way we see this game with NFL Films and the way that he portrayed things, him and his father starting that company. And you just don't look at football the same. He's had so many contributions to this sport, on and off the field. Another little-known fact, he's the author of the poem Autumn Wind, which is the song you hear in a lot of those NFL films, also the unofficial anthem of the Oakland Raiders. But here's a guy that it changed the way you look at the game. You saw things. He tore down that wall with his work. You saw what the players, do on the sidelines, training camp more than you would ever see before. Because before he came along, these are just almost mythical guys. You knew nothing about them other than their jersey number and their position and their stats. He kind of took that away and made it easier to show, game preparations or, redoing of games, in a more dramatic fashion. He definitely just changed the world. He's a revolutionary, and he's definitely someone who will be missed, but he'll always be remembered for the gift that he gave to the world.
And for Steve Sabol and his work in NFL, certainly will be missed. There will be none other than the great Steve Sabol, a revolutionary in NFL films. We'll take a quick timeout and a moment of silence for this revolutionary guy, age 69. He lost his 18-month battle with brain cancer, certainly missed. Steve Sabol, a quiet moment for the founder of NFL Films.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to NFL Goal Line. Phil Nunziata, Nick Rice with you, as we are every Monday. We got a great show for you. Let's run down the headlines. After a 3-0 start, are the Arizona Cardinals for real? Can J.J. Watt possibly be the defensive MVP? And what to make of the 49ers loss? And how bad will the Saints do this season? And to top it all off, what's wrong with the Patriots, including Bill Belichick's scramble with the officials? Here we go. We're going to kick it off now. NFL Goal Line, Phil and Nick on tap.
Thank you guys for another edition of NFL Goal Line with Nick and Phil. You guys are back for some more NFL action, perhaps the most exciting week of NFL football, certainly this year, but Phil, perhaps in quite a long time. This is Nick Rice and Phil Nunziata for yet another edition of NFL Goal Line. We are running strong on our 8th edition of here NFL Goal Line on Spreaker.com, and we will start off with a big upset now. We are at halftime in the game in Quest Field, 7-0 score here, Phil, and for more updates on this Monday night matchup, Phil, send us away with an update here on an upset in the making over in Seattle.
Well, as you said, the Seahawks are leading 7-0, and basically what we've seen from this first half of play, the Seahawks defense, who people have been saying many great things about, they've just been containing the Packers offense, containing Aaron Rodgers, hitting him, sacking him, I believe 3 times already this game, and this has just been a crazy weekend in the NFL. We had 3 games going to overtime this week.
Certainly Seattle on tap for the biggest upset of the week, and that certainly is saying something with some tremendous finishes and some upsets. We'll get to that during our hour-long presentation of NFL Goal Line. Just running through the stats real quick, Aaron Rodgers, a tremendous first half statistically. Interesting how the Green Bay offense has not found the end zone or even the scoreboard in the first half. Rodgers 12 for 15, 86 yards, no TDs, and no picks. Randall Cobb is the leading rusher center, believe it or not, in the backfield. And then, of course, on Seattle's side, Marshawn Lynch with 16 carries. He will be the key to the offense. And leading 7-0, pound that rock, Seattle, as Russell Wilson, 5 for 10, did find the end zone on a Golden Tate touchdown, but only 69 yards passing on 50% completions. Seattle will be looking to pound the rock in the second half here at home with a crowd going wild. Phil, any last thoughts on this Monday night matchup? We are at halftime, 7-0 again. Quest Field, the Seahawks, upset in the making.
Well, as you said before, Russell Wilson having 69 yards passing, a good little stat to throw in there. 41 of those yards came off of his touchdown pass to Golden Tate, so you take that away, and Russell Wilson's definitely struggling against his Green Bay defense. But they do have the lead so far, so we'll see what happens moving on.
Yeah, and for Green Bay, certainly an up-and-down season. Right now, they are at 1-1 on the year. Certainly nothing to be too concerned of at the moment. But Aaron Rodgers in this squad, I mean, to be down on the scoreboard, certainly some adjustments need to be made in the second half. We'll be giving you up-to-date action on the entire game here with the Seattle Seahawks leading 7-0 here in this Monday night matchup. And we'll be turning back to the Steve Sabol thing. We have Cameron Sadeghi on tap here later on, and right now we're just waiting for this call. But for Steve Sabol, at 69 years of age, dies with his 18-month-long battle with brain cancer. He was 69 years old, and certainly one of those guys that you can't. He made an impact, Phil, in the National Football League from NFL Films that just cannot be replaced. It'll be interesting how NFL Films can counter here, as now they're without perhaps the biggest impact in all of national football. Certainly early on, he was the founder, and he was what got this thing going, and he'll certainly be missed. Here's Cameron Sadeghi now on the line. We always appreciate Cameron. He's one of those guys that always has tremendous points week in and week out, and now he'll be on a somewhat non-football topic. Steve Sabol dies at the age of 69, and Cameron, I know you have some impactful points. Cameron Sadeghi, take it away. What do you think of the founder of NFL Films and NFL football, you may say, dying at the age of 69?
I have to say this first. Thank you for letting me on, and I totally agree with Phil. I agree with both of you. The bottom line is this. He did revolutionize the game of football, and it's shown. He brought a storytelling aspect to the game that we've never seen before. His family, his dad brought the ins and outs, the heart of put out on the TV set. It was, I cannot discuss how big of a deal this is to the game. I think if there is no NFL Films, I don't think many people watch the game of the football. I don't think it's the number one sport without NFL Films. And usually people like to blame the media for things, but actually, to be quite honest, the reason why the NFL is a multi-billion-dollar machine is because of the media. And main reason, Steve Sabol, his storytelling aspect that he brought to the table, his stories, his candidness, his heart, his humor. It was so real and genuine when it came across my TV set. It's so beautiful to watch because you see a lot of media members play two different personas, or you see other people who are on TV try to act one way even though they're not outside of the microphones, outside of the cameras. And Steve Sabol was the opposite of that. He brought a candidness and liveliness to the TV set that I'll never forget. And to be honest, the reason why I watch the NFL is because of him. And he really changed my mind about the way the game is played and the ins and outs of the game. By the way, I think you guys may have mentioned this, but I'm just going to mention it to the audience. He did start Hard Knocks, the popular TV series during the summer where they go behind the scenes with teams. They started in, I believe, the year 2000 with the Baltimore Ravens, and Brian Billick talked about it on Fox Sports on the YouTube channel, and he said, I was not going to do it. I wasn't really confident about doing Hard Knocks, but I still did it because Steve Sabol was there, and I was confident that Steve Sabol wouldn't blow anything into proportion and use this opportunity as a positive tool for fans of the game to see what it's like to be a part of an NFL franchise. So I think that I love Steve Sabol, and if I can come back and call in again, that'd be great. I actually like the topic. I really like the topics that you guys are talking about. So thank you for letting me on.
Of course, Cameron, you are always respected. Phil, do you have anything real quick?
I was actually, he beat me to it. The Hard Knocks series with the Ravens, that was actually one of my most memorable moments for him, because I remember the Ravens playing the Eagles in their first preseason game at the Vet, and the field was ruled unplayable to be on because of unsafe, because the Phillies baseball team used to play there as well. And I remember that after that game, people realized how dangerous that field really was, and it wasn't just a myth. So Steve Sabol taking something like that, the Vet, the Eagles' old stadium, is legendary, and it started all from that. People realizing that, wow, this field is that close every week to not being played on. So you see things like that. He just takes the curtain away, and he just makes these guys, you take the jerseys off, you take the pads off, and these are real people. And like Cameron said, I think that's what people admire the most about him, is it made the game real, and it made it a lot more entertaining to watch.
Steve Sabol is...
I'm gonna leave right now.
Actually, Cameron, I'm wondering real quick, can you stay on for a couple minutes? Oh, no, he's out the line, because he's certainly one of those impactful. He's one of those minds that we always appreciate. He comes back week in and week out, and hopefully he'll be back sooner rather than later. Steve Sabol, obviously one of those father figures of the game that will be missed. And believe it or not, I didn't believe, Phil, about the Hard Knocks series. It's been one of those. Now it's dropped off this past year. The Miami Dolphins, certainly a low point in the Hard Knocks series. But for Hard Knocks, I did not believe that Steve Sabol was the guy that brought that all up. And certainly it's been one of those NFL films, things that in the offseason, when no one really likes to see preseason games as much as the regular season, Hard Knocks was one of those entertainment value products that certainly provided more entertainment during the preseason.
Yeah, I think between the Hard Knocks series and I think almost as revolutionary is when they have those mic'd up segments, and you get to hear these Tom Brady's and Aaron Rodgers, and you hear what they say in the huddle. And I think what people enjoy the most is you listen to them. And, if you played high school ball, if you played Pop Warner ball, anything like that, you listen to these guys, it's still the same game. You hear them say some of the same things. Even when people are arguing, it's some of the stuff that you've maybe heard yourself. So it's just one of those things. It makes these guys more human than, the superheroes that they're still superheroes to some people, but it just shows that they are real people. They have emotions like everybody else, and I think that's one of the things that it captured the most in both of those aspects.
And for Steve Sabol, I mean, a prime example with the mic'd up segments, and certainly they're providing more and more off the field, analysis and access off the field. Fans can now see how NFL players are on and off the field, and none was more prime of an example when the Lions defeated the Browns on a game-winning drive with Matthew Stafford. That game was a complete bust if it weren't for Matthew Stafford being mic'd up for sound. And just a quick example of what Steve Sabol, the kind of impact he had, was all these things weren't even thought of until Steve Sabol. Starting from NFL films, the kind of Hollywood type of aspect that from the game of the week to all the NFL films type of stuff, obviously it was not created until Steve Sabol came along, and most recently the mic'd up segments for so many players provides just another entertainment value. Steve Sabol will be missed. It'll be interesting how the NFL does counter after Steve Sabol's departure. So now we will transition over to a new topic, and certainly one trending around the National Football League as the San Francisco 49ers. Boy, what to make of this ball club, because the 49ers, 2-0, hot. They're one of those teams that are regarded as the best in football. I had them at the top of my board among power rankings, but they fell to perhaps one of the worst teams we expect to be in the bottom 5 of the draft class in the Minnesota Vikings. Completely handed. What a big whooping by the Minnesota Vikings. It ended up being close late, but for a majority of the contest, San Francisco, out of a game that they should have won quite easily, Phil, now at 2-1, what to make of this ball club that loses a pretty big game against the Vikings on the road.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to, any day up until yesterday, and if you ask somebody, if they thought the San Francisco 49ers were the best